Oh wait, no longer. Greatness has arrived. Welcome to the Trophy Room, a PlayStation podcast made by the players for the players. I am your host, Joseph, and it is here on this very podcast where each and every Thursday I sit down with my best friend Kyle and we talk about the latest, the greatest in all things PlayStation. And hey, if you like the show, please, it would mean a lot to us if you rate this show 5 stars on iTunes. And if you really like it, toss $1 our way at patreon.com/badbit. But with all that said and with all that out of the way, the greatest co-host whoever is, whoever will be, Mr. Kyle Stevenson. How are you, sir?
Doing fantastic.
Yeah.
Before we get into the show,
Yeah.
can I, I mean, we're not sponsored, but, this Mountain Dew Zero Sugar really is absolutely delicious. It doesn't have that aftertaste of diet soda usually.
Yeah.
0 calories. I'm all for it. You get hyped up Kyle on Mountain Dew without the sugar crash that's going to happen later. It's the perfect drink for the trophy room. So, hey, Mountain Dew, hit us up, man.
Do the do, you know? And this is sponsored by 4 Hymns and Raid Shadow Legends. Ever played that mobile game, Raid Shadow Legends? No one has.
Yeah.
But YouTube would like to tell you different. Kyle, how are you doing? Other than you doing the do this episode.
I'm doing okay. It's been a long work week already.
Yeah, seriously, it has been.
Yeah.
And I don't like to brag, but I only worked 1 day this week.
Yeah, I taught past 2 days. Yesterday was weird. They had a substitute teacher sit in on meetings. So that's what I did. That's what I did is just sit on meetings with parents coming in, and it was very.
Are they asking you about their kid? And you're like, I don't know. I'm subbing.
Well, I think part of, not to get too technical with it, but part of the New York State law is they need to have a general education teacher in the meetings.
Gotcha.
And so instead of pulling another teacher from the classroom, they just used me.
Okay.
Even though I didn't know the kids, I just kind of sat there. I didn't say a word all day yesterday. It was very weird.
Very weird. That's
very weird.
But easy money though, so you gotta respect that.
Yeah, I guess so.
Jokes on you, New York State. I've been just chillaxing. It's been a nice week. It's been yesterday was a few ups and downs, but other than that, I feel like the PAX hype is getting to me. And I'm getting excited. We're already starting to make appointments with people. I'll talk to you about that after the show. But seriously, this episode, we're talking about Doom, Final Fantasy VII, Last of Us Part 2 all being at PAX, shady Sony AI, Geoff Keighley giving a big FU to E3. But before we talk about all that, Kyle, the segment we like to start the show with, what you've been playing. What have you been playing, sir?
Yeah. So I think I talked about it 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
It was part of the drop. Pillars of Eternity 2, Deadfire.
Okay.
You actually picked that game, and I was upset you did. But here we are, and I'm actually playing it. It finally arrived. It took me a while to get into it, just because this is my first tabletop RPG video game.
Okay.
I've been recently into Dungeons and Dragons and that kind of style of role-playing game. And this, from what I've played so far, is very much that. So I was getting frustrated over the first battle just because I wanted to switch to my bow because I was at a
Are there
distance.
different classes as well?
Yeah, there's it's very in depth. There's classes, you pick a backstory. The backstories and the races give you advantages and disadvantages, just like regular D&D.
Isometric, so it's top down because you talk about board. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm on
and
board.
So, but something I didn't realize I'm guessing this is true for all tabletop video games. But once you switch your weapons, that is your action. So I was like, why can't I attack this person? And it took me way too long to admit, that was my action.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's super cool. I love the voice acting in the game is incredible. I love just running into the townspeople and getting quests. It feels like I'm playing Dungeons and Dragons, which is awesome.
And this is
I'm
made
excited
by
to really.
This is made by Obsidian, right?
Yes, it is Obsidian.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So
awesome.
they were working on this game and the Outer Worlds, I guess.
Oh, well, this is a port. This is a PC game.
Okay. All right.
That came out a couple years ago, and they're just kind of porting it over for console.
Would you recommend it though? At a full $60 price tag so far?
From what the little bit into it, if that is your type of game, absolutely. I
Okay.
think if you're a newcomer to that genre, you really might have to, like myself,
There's
without
like,
my little background of D&D, I think you really need to research it and see if that's your type of game,
all right.
because it's very text heavy, it's lore heavy, um, battle system and all that stuff gets a little getting used to.
Yeah.
So I would definitely research that before you hop in.
Okay. So it seems like if you're into D&D, if you're a big
Yeah.
RPG guy or gal,
Yep.
whatever, you're gonna like it. That's awesome for me. That's
Yeah.
that's. I've always been interested in that game. I've never pulled the trigger. Still might wait for a sale on it, but you know what I did
Sure.
pull the trigger on for finally?
Oh
Both
boy. What
literal
you
and metaphorically.
what you do?
Apex Legends
Oh, we
Season
back.
4. I'm back, baby. I skipped all of Season 3. I wasn't a fan of the map. I got to play with a ton of people. Haley Zorel, she'll be on the show in a few weeks. Play with Ray Martinez, patron and friend of the show. And then I also, just before we got on, I was playing with the Jump Master crew. I was playing with Alex Van Aken
Sweet.
and Papa Drew Bear. So we got a win there. Felt good about it, but also because they play all the time, because they have the number one, Apex Legends podcast. They got to be up to date. I'm also fighting people way above my pay grade, and it shows. They are such on another level. The OK Beast crew, amazing. With that said, though, I tried out the new legend. His name is Revenant. Really creepy robot assassin. He won me over with the trailer. I wanted to give him a try, and he has one of the coolest abilities I have seen in a hero shooter so far, which his ultimate is he creates a death totem. And everybody gathers around it, or just one, depends. And you press square, and then bam, all of a sudden, you have technically an extra life. So you could bum rush the enemy. You could completely die by them. You'll be weaker, by the way, but you'll completely die by them. And then you go back to the totem. So his job essentially is the ultimate poke, and it's the ultimate form of assault. But here's the thing. When you return to the totem, you only have 1 HP, but you still have your shields, whatever amount you had. So you can still get a couple of hits taken on you, but you do need to refill your health and whatnot. The other trick to that is if there is an enemy around you don't know and everybody takes the totem, if someone breaks the totem, you all die.
Oh.
So he's a very high risk, high reward, and also uber assault class. He is all about the assault. He's all about rushing in and just taking the enemy on head on. And that's the type of gameplay I like in Apex, or just in general. And he just spoke to me gameplay wise. Also, they added a sniper rifle in the game called the Sentinel. Holy crap, it feels so good. It makes you feel like a sniper. It feels like a battle rifle and a sniper made love, and it just feels so freaking great. And it also uses, to charge up your shots, if you want a really powerful shot, it'll actually use shields that you pick up, and you can actually power the sniper to make it even more effective. Yeah. That's awesome. Cool. Totally changes the game. I'm totally back into it. I'm playing it on right now my main slice, which is my PlayStation 4. So if anybody wants to play with us, hop in the Casa de Bad Bit Discord server and let's make a play date out of this, man. I'm really pumped. But with that,
also while we're at it,
tell me.
Because I just took a quick run through of the doc because I wasn't sure if it was in there. But like, with the Division 2 being $3 or whatever it was on PSN,
go get it.
Like, I'm totally down with I bought it, like, it was no brainer for that amount of money.
Yeah.
So if we want to run through a Division together with some community members, I'm totally down as well.
We got to figure something out, but I'd be totally down.
We got to pick a day.
Yeah. With that, before we square up the news, I just want to give a huge big thank you to our patrons over at Patreon.com and /badbit, and our silver plus tier members Daniel Welsh, Ray Martinez, and JB the Purple Monkey himself. Thank you so much for supporting us. And because we're at the level we're at right now, we're able to go to PAX East and cover all these huge games, all because of you guys and gals out there. So thank you all from the bottom of our hearts. It means the world. So if we ever got you through a commute, a rough day at work, a rough day just in general, please, please, please. It would mean a lot to us. Just toss $1 or $2 our way. It would mean a lot. It really helps the show go and function and make us do really awesome stuff. And you guys and gals get to hear all about it. So with that,
Where
Kyle,
can they go to do that, Joe?
God, well, patreon.com/Babbitt. That's where you get to do it. And at the $3 and up tier, you get, the road to greatness. So right now we covered Uncharted, The Lost Legacy. And then we're going to be covering Darksiders Genesis. And we're also going to be covering, Dreams. So there you go. Yeah. Power your dreams. With that, Kyle, let's square up the news, sir.
This comes from Brendan Sinclair from GamesIndustry.biz. Sony paid $229 million for Insomniac. Sony has revealed the price it paid to make longtime collaborator Insomniac Games part of the PlayStation family. According to a filing made today with the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, the acquisition of the studio cost Sony 24,895 million yen. I'm guessing that what that symbol is.
Yeah. Or
$229 million, paid out mainly in cash. Prior to the sale, Insomniac Games had worked closely with Sony for decades. Founded in 1994, it only released games on Sony platforms for the first 18 years of its existence, creating franchises like Spyro the Dragon, Ratchet & Clank, and Resistance. It branched out in 2012 with the Facebook game Outernauts and has since explored development for mobile, Xbox 360, Xbox One, PC, Oculus Rift, and Magic Leap 1.
What is a Magic Leap 1? That's my first question for you, Kyle.
Don't know. Let's do a quick little look-see, because that's the first time I've ever heard
Is that like a kid's toy? Like, you remember Leapfrog? Maybe it's like that?
It looks like it's an augmented reality goggles.
Oh, okay. Wow, Insomniac. Doing some crazy
stuff. Some funky-looking people wearing them. Not the people. The people are looking funky wearing the goggles.
There you go.
There you go.
So, Kyle, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Was this a good get for Sony? $229 million?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think Insomniac is super talented, and that seems like a staggering amount to us plebeians and small people. But they put out quality games. All those games that were listed. I know some people, hint, Sean Capri, don't like the Resistance games, but I think they're super polished first-person shooters, and they were great for the PlayStation family when they were out.
Okay.
And Ratchet is
he's a mascot.
Legendary.
Yeah,
he's same thing with Spyro. The fever over the Spyro Reignited trilogy that came out last year was huge. So they are single-handedly making iconic video games, including Spider-Man.
Yeah. And I think that's
comes next.
the one big thing here too is actually how cheap they got them for.
Yeah, for sure.
I was listening to Imran Khan talk, and Microsoft bought out, and this is during the mid 2000s. They bought Rare for $350 million, plus. That's a lot of change for a iconic studio that if we could be real here for a second, didn't really pan out for them that well. It took them a while to really use Rare to their fullest abilities.
At least not yet.
Yeah, until, Sea of Thieves and even a little bit afterwards, they were just, hey, Connect games. And so seeing Sony pay, again, a fraction of that price, $229 million, seems like a lot. I mean, a tenth of that could pay my student loan debt. But it also goes to show that the partnership and the position Insomniac was in, and the partnership that they have with Sony, with them trusting Sony with their company, because I think when we take a look at what they were working on, I mean, unfortunately we love it, but Sunset Overdrive wasn't a huge hit. You have to think what those Oculus Rift games actually did numbers wise. They made a couple of games that kind of try to keep them afloat. I mean, Fuse, remember Fuse? They've had a bad luck of it as of late, and seeing Spider-Man and seeing Ratchet and Clank being kind of the things that kept them afloat, it only made sense for them to choose Sony over anyone else. So for me, I'm taking a look at these numbers, and I'm not surprised by the amount, but it also kind of goes to show Sony's willing to shell out some change, some serious change for their studios. And apparently, from what all the rumors are saying, is that they got at least 2 or 3 more that they got announced. So Kyle, I got a question for you.
2 or more what, acquisitions?
Acquisitions, yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Again, that's just rumors and speculation.
Yeah.
But what would you like those studios to be. I know like one that we share is Housemarque.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And do you think that Sony's plan is not to just like buy out larger studios, but maybe even go for smaller studios and infuse them with cash? Like, what would you like to see happen?
I think it would be smart to do a little mix of both,
Yeah.
right? I think go after the big ones. So like, one of my like dream acquisitions now after my game of the year last year is Remedy
Mm,
with Control. I think that would be like a no-brainer. Cue the jokes of how it ran on a PS4,
right.
but like I think that game is so unique, and Remedy is such a solid studio from top to bottom. Like I think that would be a great get for PlayStation.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, Housemarque. That's a great get there too.
Well, like
Blue
let's
Point,
yeah.
buy out Blue Point.
Oh
Like
God, that would
that'd be great
nice.
too.
So, like, how much do you think though? Like, do we really think like Remedy is in the marketplace to get bought? Because they just bought the rights of Alan Wake.
Right?
So, do
Yeah.
you think that they're actually in more of the multi-platform route? Like,
Most
how much
likely.
money do you think that a company like Remedy would be? Let's just pretend we're big businessmen for a second.
Sure. So if I'm looking at Sony buying Insomniac for $229 million,
Mm-hmm.
I could see them buying Remedy for, I mean, pretty close to that. Probably 200 million at least.
I would say actually a little lower. Again, we're
Yeah.
just just speculation to speculate here, but like
Yeah.
I'm thinking they would be higher if they had Max Payne, but they sold
Mm.
that shit off. But they do
That's
have
true.
Alan Wake. They do have Control. I would love to see them take Remedy and let them be weird and let them
Yeah.
do their own thing. You know,
Hmm.
I would
Do
love
they
to see Blue
own
Point.
the Quantum Break thing, or is that a Microsoft thing?
That is Microsoft's thing.
Okay.
Yeah, that is theirs. But yeah, I would like. I think all signs are pointing to Blue Point being purchased by Sony as well.
For sure.
I mean, even the way that they're talking about it's like, oh yeah, we love partnering with PlayStation, right?
Absolutely.
Like here in Housemarque Go, we have this mysterious, investor. It's like we know who's infusing you
Yeah.
with cash here, buddy. You're not
Uh-huh.
fooling us. And I think both of those companies could, not Blue Point, but like both of those companies could use that revenue more than ever because Control didn't sell as well as they hoped, and Housemarque was not to say in the red, but they were working on Storm Divers as like the Hail Mary for that studio. So I do think Sony has come in at least to one of those companies, knocked on the door, and offered them a blank check
Yeah.
for the most part. Yeah. And do you think at the end of the day, with like Microsoft purchasing like Ninja Theory and stuff like that, that those studios offer the level of hype that a Ninja Theory or an Obsidian have? Because I
Yeah.
don't think so.
You don't think so?
No.
I would say on Xbox's side, those acquisitions are probably a little bit greater.
Yeah.
But I don't think the gap is so huge,
Mhm.
right? I think just from history alone, with Remedy, like their long
Partnership.
timeline of making great games, like I
Yeah.
think it's
I think
that'd be a
Remedy would be a
no-brainer.
get. I think Remedy
Yeah.
would be like, oh shit. I think Blue Point as well would be like. I think Sony's acquisitions, when you look at them, they're not surprising. I mean, again, like it's still theorizing, but like Insomniac isn't like a whoa. We were surprised, not that it happened, but that it took them that long, right?
Sure.
Because they've
And
always
also
been a
kinda
Sony
like
deal.
I thought they were making multi-platform games and stuff because they didn't want to be tied down.
Exactly.
So the fact that they came back and accepted that deal, I think goes to show you just how great that partnership is between Sony and Insomniac, and that they were willing to kind of tie themselves down.
Yeah. And I think when it comes to like a company like Housemarque, you see, I think what Sony wants more than like, oh, we want this big studios. I think they're looking at studios that they've already had a very strong relationship with and strong partnership with. And I think,
Yeah.
I think the two you've mentioned, Blue Point and Housemarque, totally make sense
Yeah.
for Sony to get on. But with that, again, all the speculation in the world, let's get into the real meat of the show.
Oh
right
man.
here. Let's do
man.
it.
Get goosebumps already. Brianna Reeve over at PlayStation Lifestyle brings us Last of Us news.
Mhm.
The Last of Us Part 2 Ellie Edition is being restocked. Hands-on demo coming to PAX East. Naughty Dog's first step toward launch is the announcement of the Ellie editions being restocked. Furthermore, the studio will take a hands-on demo to PAX East 2020, which kicks off on February 27th. Hey, we'll be there. Look at us.
Who would have
Look
thought?
at us.
Who would have thought? Not me.
Not not too long after the LE Edition's first wave of pre-orders, the special edition stock dried up. Following months of emails, tweets, and so on, Naughty Dog and Sony worked to ensure a restock could arrive before launch. Thankfully, that time is now, as pre-orders for the LE Edition will go live once more starting today, February 13th at 6 a.m. PST. Pre-orders will only be available in the U.S. at Amazon, Best Buy, GameStop, Target, and Walmart.com for $229 US dollars. In Canada, this edition will serve as an EB Games exclusive, priced at $299.99 Canadian funny money.
Dude, it sucks to be Canadian.
Right?
God, that's awful. Oh, boy. Shout out to Marcus O'Neill and Nathan up there.
Sorry, guys. In addition to announcing that restocks are incoming for The Last of Us Part 2 LE Edition pre-orders, Naughty Dog unveiled a whole host of other collectible items fans can soon get their hands on. Once again, the studio is teaming with Dark Horse on a couple of LE statues, each of which will release in the coming months. Art dealer Cook & Becker has new concept art prints in stock that are available to purchase now. Finally, Naughty Dog unleashed new Part 2 key art, as well as another free PS4 dynamic theme.
Tons of stuff for Last of Us, so let's break it down piece by piece. First off, the restock on the limited editions, the LE editions, rather, goes to show the demand for this game is freaking high. Yeah. I got a question for you.
Yeah.
With all the restocks and everything, how much do you think the sales are going to be in the first week?
Oh, astronomically high.
Yeah. I think this is huge. And I think that this is one of the reasons as to why we're not getting PlayStation 5 news for a while.
Sure.
I think
you don't want to overshadow it.
You don't want to overshadow either of them, right?
Yeah.
Like, you don't want people to go, well, why should I buy Last of Us if I just wait for PS5 and vice versa, right? So, like, to me, I'm thinking this thing is going to sell gangbusters. I think, didn't the original Last of Us, I think they sold somewhere around 20 million units, if I'm not mistaken.
That sounds all right. I'll do a quick check just to make sure. But like even you said, like you were an Xbox gamer for forever,
don't
pretty
remind
much.
Me. Yeah, I'm only kidding.
And like, and like Last of Us is one of the reasons you hopped over.
Yeah.
And seeing what Last of Us Part 2 looks like and not having our hands on it yet, I think it's going to be even a greater influx of gamers hopping on PlayStation to play this.
I think it goes to show the power of this exclusive over any other on most platforms other than Nintendo, because everybody talks about The Last of Us, right? And like, yeah, you got the people that think it's overrated, and that's fine, that's your opinion. But like when you hear the masses talk about this game, this is one of the first true heavy hitters for PlayStation that started to turn the tide of what Sony's publishing could do. And just looking at the fever for this game, this is going to be massive. This is going to be absolutely massive, and I'm so excited.
Really quick, by August of 2014, The Last of Us Part 1 released in 2013. The game had sold 8 million copies, 7 million on PS3, and 1 million on PS4. By April of 2018, the game sold 17 million copies across both consoles.
Yeah. That's nuts. Also goes to show, I remember back in the day, over like 70% of people on a PlayStation 4 never played Last of Us. So it goes to show that it was also bundled with PlayStations. It sold like hotcakes. Yeah. So yeah, it's sold around near the 20 million mark. And with the hype that's coming with the PAX East coverage, I can't wait. The statue as well. I'm very tempted.
Well, I mean, I'm already getting the collector's one, so like I don't know if I can have both.
That's what I'm thinking too, and that's what's. Listen, Luke Lore, I get it. I'm bad with my money, but that is the thing that I'm just like, I'm already getting a statue. I don't need this. Yeah. I don't need this. The dynamic cool theme though. Have you got the dynamic theme?
I redeemed it. I haven't installed it on my PS4
awesome.
though.
It's dope. Yeah.
The one cool thing about this news that I wanted to highlight is in that PS blog post, Neil was writing that back in 2013 when the game was released, they first showed it off to the public in Boston.
That's awesome.
At PAX East. And now that they wanted to make sure for Part 2 they did the same thing. At Boston, first public hands-on.
Do you think that this was kind of the plan? Like, do we really think that this game was going to release in February? Like,
Oh yeah,
because like the way I'm
yeah.
thinking here is, to me, how do you get the marketing team ready for something that happens in February
Uh huh.
in October or November? Like, how
Yeah,
does that
yeah.
idea happen? How does that, like, part of me likes to think that they were ready for February,
Mm-hmm.
but
Mm-hmm.
how I know marketing works, you need at least 6 months to get ready for a big event like this, especially if the game is The Last of Us Part 2.
Yeah.
So like you have to assume that they had demos ready. So I don't
Mm-hmm.
know if this was ever a February release.
Well, it was
Probably
originally what,
February.
February 18th,
Something like that, yeah.
around there. So like, realistically, it could have been next week. We could have been have gotten Last of Us on our hands.
Yeah.
I still think demos would have been at PAX. I don't think it would have still not have been there. I think
Okay.
having gamers there, if they were on the fence about it or never played it, go check it out while
Right.
you're at PAX
It's
East.
kind of like Borderlands 3 right now. We'll have a presence. All right, that makes actually a lot of sense. You know what,
Yeah.
guys? I'm full of shit. Kyle's the smartest man in the room. What can I say? Joshua Miller writes in, he asks this question. The Last of Us 2 free dynamic theme dropped yesterday. If you could make a dynamic theme for any PlayStation game, what would it be and what would it look like? Kyle, you want me to buy you some time here?
Yes, please.
You already know what it is.
It's Bloodborne.
It's been 1,887 days since the original launch of Bloodborne.
Is
And
that
I
true?
would love.
Did we go over 100 days in a week?
Sorry. Listen, dyslexia. 1,787
There you
days
go.
since the original launch of Bloodborne. And let me tell you something here, gang. Okay? What I would love out of this dynamic theme, all joking aside, is we all know the twist of Bloodborne, and if you haven't known the twist from now, I don't know what to tell you. But I would love it where it's the original, just, the hunter looking over Yarnum, and then when you flip up, where you see your friends list and everything. And I mean, like, in the main theme, it's just, hunter looking at the town and you see beasts everywhere. And then when you look upwards, it's when you have insight in the game and you just see the big giant Cthulhu monsters, tentacles everywhere. That would be
That'd be
fucking
cool.
dope.
That's cool.
And tell me that's not cool. I dare you.
It's definitely cool.
Yeah, it's the dopest thing ever.
Man, it's hard. It's hard to think about it because I go to like God of War,
Mhm.
and it would be cool to have just like the axe flying through the screen, or
Like as you're shifting tiles, like the axis is going.
like whatever you click on, the axe goes and like cuts into it as like a select thing.
And then like when you when you swoosh it all the way forward, it like hits a tree, and then when you swoosh it all the way back, it has the connect sound, like it goes back to his hand.
Yes,
That would be fucking
cool.
nuts. Oh
yeah. And like we have, I'm sure there'll be a Final Fantasy VII one, so I don't want to say that.
no, I think that's good enough. I think that's dope as all hell.
I also thought of like a game I don't think a lot of people remember or talk about.
Tell
Remember Fat Princess?
Yes.
Just like her just eating cake.
Okay.
Just in the background. I think it would be funny.
I like it. Hey Kyle, what's the next little mini pack story we got for you?
Oh man, the hype is flowing through me. Final Fantasy VII it could be the Mountain Dew though. Final Fantasy VII Remake demo will be playable at PAX East. This comes from JJ Brosen at GamesRant. The information comes from the official Final Fantasy VII Remake Twitter account, and according to it, fans will be able to find the Final Fantasy VII Remake demo at the Square Enix booth numbered 12011 at PAX East 2020. The event starts on February 27th and will run through March 1st. The demo will be the same one that appeared in Los Angeles, Cologne, Seattle, and Tokyo. This means attendees will be able to play through Final Fantasy VII Remake's first mission, which sees players taking control of Cloud and Barrett and partnering with other Avalanche members to bring down one of the Shinra Corporation's many Mako reactors.
Okay. I never played a Final Fantasy VII in my life. This would be the first time I'm ever doing it. But famous Seamus writes in. He's the most famous Seamus I've ever met in my whole entire life. And he asks this question. Last of Us Part 2 and Final Fantasy VII Remake are both coming for PAX. But due to a weird twist of fate, aka you both forgotten to play them, you both can only play one of these games. Which one do you choose? Now, I'm going to take it a step further. okay? Because I like to give Kyle rough situations. Shuhei walks up to you.
Don't.
He gives you a gun with one bullet.
By the way, you still need to pay for the therapy over the Vita decision
Well,
last year. I've been sending you my bills and
yeah,
nothing.
it's Andrew House's
Do you leave
house.
them at Andrew House's
Yeah,
house?
yeah.
Is that you swap the okay?
Exactly. So, okay, he has one gun at the Last of Us booth, and then one at pointing at whatever. One has to go. What do you pick? Why do you pick it?
Go forever. It's just gone.
You're never gonna play them until they come out.
Oh, I thought you were like erasing one from history.
No.
completely.
No.
Okay.
You can't do that. Yeah.
I would probably, and this is gonna sound harsh, because you just heard us be so excited for it. I'd probably kill off Last of Us at PAX.
Why?
The reason being is I want to go into that game fresh from the beginning. I think we are gonna play it at PAX.
Yeah.
But when we get it at home, playing through that same thing over again, that's kind of a thing that still trips me up, kind of like in Days Gone.
But Kyle, you're going to be playing all of Final Fantasy VII all over again. You already experienced Final Fantasy VII.
I totally get that, but not in this fashion. And when it comes to like a story perspective, like to experience that Last of Us story fresh, like when it comes out, I think would be more beneficial for that than for me to redo it again, because I already know those beats.
Yeah. Oh no, for me it's simple. Have you ever seen Gangs of New York? Not Gangs of New York. What's the one with Denzel Washington? Remember when
Training Day?
No, not Training Day. The other one where he's a gangster. It's American Gangster, right?
There you go.
There you go. Yeah, no, like without a doubt, I would American Gangster Final Fantasy VII without even blinking an eye. I'd be like, all right, Thanos snap, give me the Last of Us.
That's an easier answer for you because you have no history with Final Fantasy.
None. It'd be like, get the cute, get Cutie over there, Cloud over here, and then bam, done. I don't care.
Are you legitimately excited to see what the hype is about?
Here's the thing. I'm really excited for Final Fantasy VII. Every time I tell people that, you're like, you're just excited because it's a PlayStation game. I'm like, no. I'm excited. I get excited over people's excitement. Yeah. So when I see people excited over Final Fantasy VII and everybody talks about how this game's changed them, I don't think it's going to happen for me. I don't think I'm going to come out a changed man. But what I do think is I'm going to experience why people like that game the way that they do in a way that I like, because I can't go back to an old-ass game. Old games are old, and I can't go back to a PS1 game or a N64 game or whatever and have that same attachment to it. Just can't. So for me to have modern controls, modern visuals, that gets me so into this game, unlike any Final Fantasy game I've ever experienced. That makes any sense. Sorry, God. With that, Kyle.
Before we get to the next thing on news, because it's not in here, I told you about before we started recording.
Yes.
Also at PAX East, in case you're going, next door in the bar connected to the hotel next to the convention center, Bethesda's going to have their Bethesda Game Days, and in there you can check out the Fallout 76 Wastelander mode, whatever you call that. But they'll also have Doom Eternal there to play. You'll be able to play through the first 20 minutes.
Can't wait.
It sounds awesome. The fact that we might have a opportunity to play 3 of our most hyped games of the year in less than 2 weeks is nuts.
Yep. And I know we're beating this Patreon horse to death here, but like all you have to do is be a patron at $1 tier, and we will have 5, right? Is it 4 or 5 PAX shows for you all exclusively on Patreon, and then a day early for everyone else when we do our one big PAX episode extravaganza. So check that out. And with that, again, thank you all so much. Because of you, we're there.
Without you, it's not possible.
Kyle, let's talk about what's not going to be possible at E3. What a transition.
Colin Campbell over at Polygon writes, E3 exhibitor list leaks as Geoff Keighley declines to participate in show. Geoff Keighley, the host of E3 Coliseum, a series of panel interviews and presentations that's been running since 2017, says he's dropping out. Keighley has been attending and covering E3 for the past 25 years. He is also the organizer and presenter of the Game Awards, which take place every December. He issued a statement today. For the past 25 years, I have attended every electronic entertainment expo. Covering, hosting, and sharing E3 has been a highlight of my year, not to mention a defining part of my career. I've debated what to say about E3 2020. While I want to support the developers who will showcase their work, I also need to be open and honest with you, the fans, about what to expect from me. I have made the difficult decision to decline to produce E3 Coliseum. For the first time in 25 years, I will not be participating in E3, end quote. Keighley told Polygon in an email he, quote, wanted to let people know what to expect or not before the ESA starts selling tickets, quote, or end quote, for the event. In a Twitter thread, Keighley said was asked if he would be covering the show in any way. He said he is still figuring out plans with YouTube for this year. He added, I just don't really feel comfortable participating given what I know about the show as of today.
Wow. And I think what he's uncomfortable about is how the show has changed so much.
Yeah.
How it is it doesn't know what it wants to be. It doesn't know if it wants to be a fan event. It doesn't know if it wants to be a industry event. And I think what Keighley's trying to say is listen, if people are coming to this event for the Coliseum or for me, I'm not going to be there. How do you take this news as a fan? Because the Coliseum was the way for the past few years we got to look at the inside of E3. And now that's going to be changed forever.
Yeah, for sure. This is a big blow. Just as a fan of E3 and being a fan of video games in general, like, I know I'm not unique in this, but I used to take days off of work to stay at home and just watch E3 coverage all day long. And seeing that, like, the king of video games in my eyes, Geoff Keighley, is not going because he doesn't like what's going on with it and the security risks behind it. It's a blow. Yeah. I'm a little bummed out because E3 was special. It kind of still has a little bit of specialness there, but not much anymore. Yeah, I'm excited for what's next though.
Are you though? Because like so many people are freaking out that that E3's going. And I mean, like, there was even people freaking out at the rumors of Nintendo not being there. And now they said, no, we're there. Just the list isn't fully out yet, but we're still going to be there. You know, Sony backing out as well. Are we really excited about the future of E3? Like,
I'm excited to see what the evolution of this could be. Like, learning from all these mistakes to kind of make it more to what we want from
And what is it that you want though?
I want more coverage from games. I don't want to see developers hop on stage for like a couple minutes each, hopping around between different things. I want like a more deep dive thing of everyone gets some time. You know, I just want to learn more about these games and see what the show floor is like. Like, one of my favorite things to do every year is watching Easy Allies walk through the floor of E3 and seeing the booth set up and stuff. Like, I know that's not like a huge issue,
I get it.
Yeah.
For me, I feel like it just needs to be an industry event. Like, I always hear when people are like, oh, when Sony pulled out, it's disrespectful to the fans. I'm like, 99.9% of people are not going here. Yeah. No one's being offended. I'm not offended that they're not going. To me, it does totally make sense that, companies are pulling out because it is so much easier to not move anywhere, to not have this huge event that costs tens of millions of dollars for, that then you're also competing for a space for another company that's poured tens of millions of dollars into this event as well. And I've seen people freak out of like, well, then the love that is games is gone, that the pageantry is gone. I'm like, good. Sure. I don't care about that. Yeah. You know, I care about a company getting their message out effectively, and I'm talking both big and small. I mean, I praise Nintendo for the Nintendo Directs, and then we get like the indie world events, whatever they're calling them now, right, to showcase smaller titles. Do you think that would have been a thing if E3 was still around? Like, let's get our head out of our asses here for a second and maybe say, hey, maybe if Sony could showcase and have their own indie event or indie, state of play, that would be awesome. A VR state of play. That would be really awesome. I mean, we see Xbox do it with XO. We're seeing it with Inside Xbox and the way they do it. This gives more indies and more developers the spotlight by getting out of E3. It to me just makes sense. And Geoff saying this shows a very big divide of what people and what investors want from this event, and it shows just the chaos that's going inside the ESA. It just shows that. I mean, everybody got their goddamn, credentials leaked out, or, your phone numbers, your addresses leaked out to people that may want to do you wrong, and they still haven't apologized for that. That's ridiculous. I can't see why anybody in their right mind would want to be excited or want to go to E3 because of just the security hazards there. Yeah. It just doesn't make sense to me. Again, and if you're going and if you want to go, that's not a slight to you.
Oh,
it's just to me, that's how I'm thinking of it. Yeah.
I would still love to fulfill that dream of going to E3 because I think it would be awesome to be on that show floor with all these incredible games.
Yeah. And for me, I feel none of that. I'm just like I used to have that same love, but but now I'm just like, whatever. I rather, to me, as a person that covers games, and not well, but like as a person that covers games, as a content creator, we know what the biggest days are, and that is Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, when everybody has their reactions to these events, because the other days you're not going to get the same amount of traffic you would anyway. So like as a creator, I just see the inconvenience of lines and everything just as something I don't want to deal with. The only thing I'm missing out on is the possible networking, and that's the thing that really sucks. But I think that's what's going to carry over to things like PAX West, things like PAX East, and all those other conventions that are popping up, is that's what's happening there, those fan events. I think PAX and the Penny Arcade are getting it so right.
Yeah. What I think should happen next, and I'm totally hijacking this from you, Trevor, at Trevor J. Starkey on Twitter. Yeah. He put some really great thoughts on this today. He said that he hopes that like the big gaming news sites also kind of sit out to kind of like put the nail in the coffin. And then he replied to that saying it would be really awesome to kind of have those gaming sites do what other sporting stuff do for the Super Bowl and just refer to it as the big week in gaming. Yeah. And not saying E3, and just having them from an outside spot covering all the news and doing that way so you don't have to go. We still get our coverage, but like show them that what's going on can't happen anymore.
Right. And I think it's easy for us to call the shots. It's easy for us to call the shots as people that like, I remember there was a talk, I think on one of the IGN podcasts, of like, they were debating even going last year because of how expensive that the ESA jacks the prices of. You're talking millions of dollars to have just a stage there. If you're someone like IGN, that the prices were getting too inflated to the point where it just didn't make logical sense anymore.
The badges too, I think, are a crazy amount of money as well.
Oh yeah, like it's all of it's insane, and again, it needs to change. And I also see a company going like Sony pulling out and saying, "Hey, listen, if we want Ghost of Tsushima coverage, we'll just make a state of play. We'll fly, influencers over. They'll get to play the game, then they fly on out, and then they get to tell their communities, and it's a whole bunch of free publicity for us, or just the amount of money you have to pay is so much less than having a tens of $1 million event, like a $60+ million event for one day or 1 week. Then you can have that whole budget for the whole year, or just a fraction of that budget for the whole year, and have it spent out that way makes so much more sense. And
or use that budget for that weird ass commercial that we saw today.
And maybe they need to spend their money more wisely, because if you guys did not see them jump, it's like the pit from The Dark Knight Rises. These military people jump in there, and it's like, nobody cared who I was until I put on the mask. They open a door and it's hearts, and then the hearts are powered, or maybe they're fueling a bunch of PlayStation 4 Pros.
It looked like
and everybody's scared out of their mind. It doesn't make any sense.
I was like, oh, is this the unveiling of the PS5? Like, this is super weird. And then nope, it
Please
just
don't.
it's not their best commercial for sure.
Nope. Let's get on to
But
the next story. This
it's
is gonna
highly
be one.
produced. That's where the money went. Like, that's I don't know, not a good call, PlayStation.
Not a good call. Creepy as all. Hell.
Michael McWhorter from Polygon writes, Bulletstorm Studios' new shooter Outriders coming to PS5, Xbox Series X. Square Enix is bringing Outriders, the next game from Bulletstorm and Gears of War Judgment developer People Can Fly, to PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X. The co-op shooter is also coming to previously announced platforms PS4, Windows PC, and Xbox One by the end of 2020. In addition to confirming next-generation PlayStation and Xbox versions of the game, a new trailer for Outriders released Tuesday reveals more about the story of the game's sci-fi story. Escaping a dying Earth, humanity finds solace on a strange new planet called Enoch, the source of a powerful anomaly and hostile indigenous life. Enoch also grants its new human visitors fantastical and destructive superhuman powers. The ability to shoot flame, freeze enemies, and summon a rocky Earth as protective armor.
Did you see this trailer? What did you think about it, Kyle?
Sure did. I saw your tweet on it as well. It made me laugh. Take that song aside, which I think is pretty dope, but I'm intrigued. Really? I like the idea of a first-person shooter with elemental powers. It kind of reminded me of just a small little bit about a super underrated PS3 game called Singularity.
Okay.
It was a first-person shooter that also had powers. So yeah, I think it's cool. I'd be down to try it.
They did say that this game
solid shooter developers. So.
I think they did say that this game would have some type of cover mechanic as well. So I want to know what this game looks like, because if it is first person, I think we're going to see gameplay as when this podcast comes out. But if this is like a Rainbow Six Vegas type of game, totally on board, where it's kind of like a hybrid of like when you're in cover third person, but when you get out of it, it's back into first person. I think that would be crazy cool. But to me, it was just another generic shooter. It's another Destiny clone and or whatever we're going to call it. And to me, I just, other than the song that was kick ass, I mean, I have it on my Spotify just on repeat. It didn't do anything for me. So I want to see more gameplay before I judge it, but that wasn't, it wasn't a good showing. With that, Kyle, let's get into the next bit of news.
Joseph Yaden from PlayStation Lifestyle writes, excuse me, Ubisoft's, I always say his name wrong, Yves Guillemot says next-gen systems will be running almost all the back catalog of the previous consoles. One of the biggest questions Sony still needs to answer about the PS5 is how backwards compatibility will work. While it's confirmed to be a feature, towards the end of 2019, Sony stated it was still ironing out the details on the much-requested feature. A recent statement from Ubisoft might have just given us some answers. During the financial call with the French publisher, CEO Yves Guillemot explained that the next-generation systems will feature backwards compatibility with almost all of the previous consoles' games, period. Whoa, Kyle, slow down. In reference to a question about the next-generation systems. Oh, there's more.
Don't worry. There's going to be a lot of editing to make this show.
That's fine. Guillemot said, quote, those consoles will be running almost all the back catalog of the previous consoles. It will be something new in the industry. It will help the old generations to continue to be big consoles on the market for years to come. Yeah.
So, okay, this is a lot here. Yves Guillemot saying, saying that this is how I get his name right, okay? It's not offensive. Get over it. Saying that, most of these consoles back catalog. Does that include the PlayStation 5? How far are we going back? What systems are being left behind, Kyle?
It's kind of an easy take here, but I think everything but PS3.
Yeah. Now, do you think that there's going to be built-in emulation to this, or do we think it's powered by the cloud? What are we thinking here? To me, I think
cloud probably.
Yeah, because to me, I'm thinking that this is more of a feature to sell PS Now than anything.
For sure.
I think I would love for them to have emulation built into the consoles itself. But to me, I think it might be easier for Sony to say, hey, it's all in the cloud. And if you want all this stuff, hey, listen, you can buy it on PS Now and we will keep on putting out games from the PS2 era, from the PS1 era, and maybe even one or two from the PS3 era, and cycling cycling them in there, but it would be really awesome to me if we also got Vita games, if we also got PSP games somehow emulated onto this machine. Like having the true history of PlayStation. We keep hearing from insiders saying that's what Sony wants to talk about, is the history of PlayStation in this box.
Yeah.
That maybe also means handheld for me, and I would love to see PSP games get that love that they deserve, but that would take a whole lot of effort to make those images look great on a big ass screen. So,
and just from like a naming convention with PS Now,
yeah,
it just makes sense. You want to play PlayStation, play it now. And that means all of PlayStation. It's a no-brainer to us, I think.
Yeah, and I think that would be a great way to market it.
Yeah.
Play all the history of PlayStation, or play the history of PlayStation now.
Yep.
That would be
absolutely
dope. There you go.
Sony,
sign me up.
Yeah. Come talk. We got ideas.
We got ideas, man. We got a couple of gerbils spinning up here.
Don't listen to the snail mail portion. Don't worry about us
stealing
mail.
Just listen, stop at the hour mark. You're going to be fine after that.
Imagine like if they said, hey, Joe, let's listen to some of your stuff.
I'd be like,
and we'll get to it. And then you just cut off the last 15 minutes of every episode.
It's like, how about we don't? And you say we did. Kyle, let's talk about the only reason why I'm bringing this up is people ask questions on it. So let's talk about Anthem.
Chandler Wood from PS Lifestyle writes, Anthem abandoning seasons as BioWare confirms it's working on a substantial reinvention. BioWare's Casey Hudson has confirmed that an Anthem reboot is in the works at BioWare. This appears to confirm reports from last year about an Anthem 2.0 relaunch. To give the team the opportunity to really focus on the work that needs to be done, Anthem is abandoning its current seasonal model. BioWare still plans to run events, store refreshes, and revisit seasonal and Cataclysm content, but don't expect any big new seasonal updates like Ice Tide while the studio hunkers down and focuses on a substantial reinvention. Casey Hudson's quote, over the last year, the team has worked hard to improve stability, performance, and general quality of life while delivering 3 seasons of new content and features. We have also heard your feedback that Anthem needs a more satisfying loot experience, better long-term progression, and a more fulfilling endgame. So we recognize that there's still more fundamental work to be done to bring out the full potential of the experience, and it will require a more substantial reinvention than an update or expansion. Over the coming months, we will be focusing on a longer-term redesign of the experience, specifically working to reinvent the core gameplay loop with clear goals, motivating challenges, and progression with meaningful rewards, while preserving the fun of flying and fighting in a vast science fantasy setting. And to do that properly, we'll be doing something we would like to have done more of the first time around, giving a focused team the time to test and iterate, focusing on gameplay first.
Mr. Moody asks, with BioWare confirming that Anthem will be getting a substantial overhaul / reinvention, do you think it'll be at E3 this year, or do you think they're going to hold off until maybe later on in the year for Game Awards or E3 2021? When would you bring this game back? Kyle?
Yeah.
When would you bring this game back?
Game Awards.
This year?
If they have something to show, yes.
Here's my thing. I'm going to be real honest. I wouldn't be working on this game at all.
Sure.
Anthem left such a bad taste in my mouth. I don't want to play this game. I don't have any yearning to. I think, look, the Storm class, I believe, felt great. But every other one just felt all right. It felt cool to fly around as Iron Man. But that allure left quickly after playing what was such a just all over the place experience when it comes through to the story, to the boss fights, to the level design. All of it just felt just like puzzle pieces that weren't fitting and that they were trying to, push into place. And so when I see this, I don't want it to come out. I don't want Anthem. I want something different that they're going to actually take their time on, not because E3 or EA has told them to do it. I want something that is totally different from what they've done, not just like in the past. Like I would love to see, and they're working on a Dragon Age 4. We could probably assume they're working on a Mass Effect. Give us something, though, if you're going to make another third branch, not be Anthem that's left such a shitty taste in our mouth.
Sure.
But I think if we are going to bring this out, this is a 2021-2022 game. When they say we're going to take a longer term to redesign, we're not seeing this anytime soon. We're definitely not.
That's fair.
Famous Seamus also asks, do you think BioWare can actually recover Anthem and fix its horrible reputation due to the game itself and its disastrous development? No.
Yeah, I find it really hard for them to dig out of this hole.
Yeah.
I mean, before this news came out, I think it was going around on Twitter that they still have the Christmas lights up.
Yeah.
And the Christmas holiday seasonal thing.
They've forgotten about this game. Like when you even like you hear them talk, oh, we had our 3 seasons out. And like every time I've heard about these seasons, it's all just like little things that don't really matter much. And so like when it comes to the content, they're just saying they gave you what you want for this year and they are abandoning it. They're abandoning it for a later date for an Anthem 2. This is not an expansion. This is something that EA expects you to shell out your money for, and I'm not going to do it. Sorry. Again, they need to show me something absolutely drastic to make that game. I would love it. I would be on board if they're just like, last game didn't even matter. Didn't even count.
Sure.
They were wiping the slate clean here. We're just doing something totally different. Are you on board with that? Cool. Let's do it. Because I think the whole basis of Anthem as well is really stupid. So
I think even just going straight into Anthem 2 or
Yeah.
whatever it is and just ground up.
Yeah. Ground up, man. Please. Give us something different. Because the world, the universe looked cool. But then when you dived in it, it was just like, what's going on and why should I care? And why do I care about any of these characters? Well, I don't care. And I know I'm sounding like a big negative Nancy tonight, and I apologize, but that's just how I feel about Anthem. It had me so on board in the beginning. Yeah. It took my $60, and man, don't pre-order your games digitally, kids. With that, Kyle, let's get into the last story of the week.
Matt Kim from IGN writes, Sony patents AI tool that could help PlayStation players if they get stuck in a game. In a patent filing for something called the in-game resource surfacing platform, end quote, Sony describes a scenario in which a player is stuck in a video game that they may need help to overcome. Quote, many video games have hundreds of thousands of individual items for users to earn, find, or purchase and use within the video game. End quote, it says in the patent description. The AI tool that Sony is hoping to patent would help search and identify in-game resources that assist a player based on contextual data and data from a community of similar players. The AI will find out how other players completed the obstacle and point the stuck players towards that solution. The AI tool may also point players towards an item in a store, in-game or online, that can help complete the objective or even advance the game to a point past the obstacle. A skip, maybe?
So, in layman's terms, in English, what essentially this is what Google Stadia kind of rolled out. Or not rolled out. It's not there yet. Stadia, what are you doing? But what they announced is when you ask Google something, if you're stuck on a puzzle on a game, it'll do a Google search. And essentially, that's what this is too. So the image on screen, I'll let you all know about it, is a kid sitting down and he says, PlayStation, how do I defeat the boss? And then the PlayStation will tell you right back, like in Alexa, 80% of players like you defeated boss using resource X. And what a lot of people are afraid of, and what's been alluded to here, is, hey, it's beaten with resource X, and you can buy it right now for 99 cents. Yeah. Right? And that's what people are very concerned about, is now Sony and other companies coming in and making games purposely difficult for you to then shell out microtransactions, shell out money for these things to get through to the game. Kyle, what do you think about this patent? Does it worry you?
I think it's a good idea on the surface. But I can totally see the worry of that microtransaction issue.
Sure.
I don't think that PlayStation would go to that level. I'm not saying that it wouldn't be smart for them, because it would probably make them a ton of money.
Right.
But like, just the thought that it could happen is scary. I like the idea of, I mean, as a trophy hunter, like, hey, I need to know how to figure out this trophy. and it will show me how to do it or like some tips here and there. It's much like if you're standing around in an Uncharted game, right? And
Yeah.
you're just standing there not knowing what to do.
It'll
It'll
go
come up
hint.
hints and it will kind of point the camera in a direction to where to go.
And
Like,
but sometimes like the thing that gets me excited here is sometimes the hints are just stupid. Like
Sure.
in Lost Legacy, there's shadow puzzles. So it's like match the shadow with the image. It's like, no shit, Sherlock. That's what I'm trying to do.
I get it. Yeah.
But on the other hand, I don't think this is a big deal, and I don't think microtransactions are going to, and maybe they can, weasel their way in here because of Google, because of YouTube. Like I platinumed the Lost Legacy because I follow Brian from PS4 Trophies. So
Yeah.
I follow him. He got me a walkthrough, and I just did everything beat by beat, like the fine man said. And bam, I got my platinum. So when I'm thinking about this, I would love it to be on the edge of the screen with a YouTube video or whatever have you.
Absolutely.
Kind of going, hey, this is how people have beaten it. And it's also, because it's AI, it's constantly learning. So it'll change its answer depending on how people are beating the boss. I think that's super interesting as well.
It's kind of like speedrunners. Like
Yeah.
there's always a new speedrunner that finds another thing to make their time faster.
Yeah. It's like,
So then everyone will follow that same path.
exactly. And it'd be like 0.7 people beat this game with a fucking Guitar Hero controller. You're like, what?
Oh my god. That's like a whole new level of trophy hunting.
Yeah.
I want to be the 0.1% to play, win the Super Bowl in Madden on a DDR pad. Like that would be nuts.
Yeah. But also, like, at the end of the day, I know that they're working on this technology. Is this patent going to end up being there? Yes, in some way, shape, or form. I think when it's telling you about microtransactions, it's also saying like, hey, as I say, I'm playing Fortnite. How do I complete this week's missions or whatever? And it'll be like, if the fastest way to get to these missions, and they'll give you like 3 videos to watch, and then they'll be like, or you could purchase them with this. And I think that's what they're essentially doing. They're not trying to like lock me out of Uncharted. I think what they're really trying to do is like, hey, Apex Legends, I don't know, where's the vault key on the map? Here's the vault key, or you could purchase the season pass, that type of shit.
Yeah.
So I think it's more like little advertisements, maybe like a banner at the end of the screen, kind of like how you see in YouTube videos. So that's what I kind of think. But listen, companies are going to make mistakes until they get them right. So who knows? But I'm cautiously optimistic for this piece of technology, and actually excites me because this is kind of something different that I think people just rush to the assumption that this is going to be evil because they hear something like microtransactions, where I think in actuality what I'm saying makes a lot more sense when we're kind of talking ourselves through it. And hey, listen, the day that it does have shitty microtransactions, we'll be there saying, how dare you? But with that, Kyle, I got a question for you. And you have any last thoughts on this as well?
No, I like it. It's a good idea. I just hope it doesn't go to the evil route.
Yeah.
Like getting kids out of their parents' money.
It's kind of cool. It's kind of cool how we're seeing at least the hints of where PlayStation's going. Like, and at this point, it's not surprising us. Like, we just talked earlier about, hey, back catalog of PlayStation games are going to be here. And we're like, yeah, I think it shouldn't be something as a surprise when you see a company like Xbox do it. Right. Yeah. And we're starting to see, Nintendo kind of do it with the online service.
Oh boy,
man, you love to see it. You really do.
Anything that will help me not play a game on my TV, pause the game, look at my cell phone at the video, unpause the game, look back at my TV, just to make it more smoother. I mean, again, very small problem for a very small percentage of gamers out there. But for me and probably you and other trophy people out there, it is such a genius idea.
Yeah. Yeah. So for me, I'm all on board. Let's see what happens. Let's see when we actually, and if we actually see this thing. But with that, Kyle, I got a question for you. Are you holding on to something?
Yes.
Prepare the drop. Each and every week, PlayStation drops the latest and greatest in all things games onto the PlayStation storefront. The only problem is that there are way too many awesome games to name. So hosts Kyle and Joseph each pick a game of their choosing and tell you why they're so hyped. Kyle, what's your game this week?
The Unicorn Princess. No,
What the
that's actually a real game. The Unicorn Princess is a real game.
I don't
but
believe you, and
that's-
I'm looking it up right now.
Go ahead. That's not my pick. It's dreams. If you can dream it, you can play it. Explore and play in an ever-expanding dreamiverse, bursting with games, music, art, and everything in between and beyond. Learn how to design your own games, animate, make music, and more with easy-to-follow tutorial videos, and then share your ideas in an online social network of creativity. It's basically video games, the game, and I am so down to check out everyone else's creation. I'm assuming, Joe, you saw the thumbnail of the Unicorn Princess. Okay.
Gang, imagine you have a 7-year-old daughter. What do you think she would think of when you think Unicorn Princess? It is
That's
a picture of a unicorn and a little 7-year-old girl with a tear petting its nose.
What a also
Yeah.
the generic
Mm-hmm.
synopsis of this is insane.
May I?
I'm gonna read it really quick.
No, no,
you want to do it?
please.
Please do it.
Explore the world on horseback and help the inhabitants of your village. Befriend Unisa, the unicorn. Oh, sorry. Utica, like the prison, but it's actually a unicorn, while exploring the real world and the world of dreams. From your village, the dream world is just a step away. You're the only one who can help Unica save her world.
Yeah. I'm gonna see how much this game is.
Please, please, for
It
the love
is.
of God.
It is $29.99.
No way.
15 different missions between two worlds. Many options to customize your character and horse. An open world to explore on the back of one of 6 horses available. Remote play requires PS Vita.
Oh,
3
well, Vita
gigabyte
lives.
minimum save size.
I'm looking up the trailer. Oh my
The whole
fucking
game
God.
is 2.3 gigs.
This isn't. This isn't a unicorn. That's a fucking horse.
with like a horn.
And guys,
Just
gals,
strapped
if
onto
you
it.
don't think I'm gonna try to put this on the video version, you.
I think we found our thumbnail.
I think we found it, y'all. What is going on?
Oh,
What?
from the developer Big Ben Interactive. It currently has one rating of 5 stars.
Oh my Jesus! This looks like straight up a PS1 game. And when you're riding the unicorn, the trees are pink.
Yes. Add to wish list. There you go.
No, my pick.
Darksiders Genesis tears its way through hell and back with guns blazing and swords swinging. Genesis gives the first look at the world of Darksiders before the events of the original game. Furthermore, it introduces the fourth and last horseman, Strife, as well as co-op play for the first time in the history of the franchise.
Kyle, both these games are on the road to greatness. Very excited about both of these games. And now all of a sudden, Unicorn fucking Princess. God have mercy
Just
on
wait
our
until
souls.
next week, and instead of me bringing up Dreams as what I'm playing, it's gonna be the Unicorn.
Andrew House's snail mail. Let's get into it.
Road to Greatness. If you pledge right now on Patreon, and you tweet at us that you pledge, we will make a special Road to the Greatness episode of the Unicorn Prince.
Honest to God, what type of tier would that need to be?
I think if I don't know what we're at currently, like Patreon backers number.
$1 million.
No, but like seriously, how many Patreon backers do we have?
You know what? If we get it to 30 backers, let's do
Okay.
it. Let's
There we
make
go.
it a reality, okay?
30 backers. If we see that, we'll do a Road to Greatness
do it.
Unicorn.
It doesn't even matter the amount. It could be $1. You throw $1
Yep.
our way,
Mhm.
but then it has to stick though. It has to stick. So we wait the month, and then we'll.
So April we'll do, or March we'll do Doom Eternal Road to Greatness and the Unicorn Princess.
Unicorn Princess. Okay. Yeah. That's,
Maybe I'll have my niece on that episode. And she can
that
talk
would
about
be
it.
so cute. It would just be me and her playing. How about that?
There you go.
I shouldn't be around small children, but I think that's.
I'll
a good
sit in the
idea.
background the whole time, like
You're
Joe.
She like, do the voice. I'm like, oh. You're like, no, knock it off. You knock it off. Oh my goodness. Yeah, okay. And we're $10 away from our second tier, which is a once a month live show. So who knows? Sky's the limit. Maybe we'll be playing that.
I just heard live
Unicorn.
stream Unicorn Princess platinum run through. Yeah.
So sometimes I steal Andrew House's mail. Each and every week, we introduce Andrew House's snail mail. Now, you can write into the Trophy Room via the Casa de Bad Bit Discord. You can at us at PS Trophy Room with your questions revolving the world of PlayStation, or you could pen them over to Andrew House. I jump on a magical unicorn. I go into another dimension. I steal his mail. Simple as that. And this week, our first question comes from Jason Hale, which is a dope-ass last name, and I hope that's not a fake name. Because Jason Hale sounds like one of two things, action star or porn star. Maybe
I was going
even
to
a
say
third
professional
option.
wrestler, too.
Yeah, Jason Hale. 4 options there, and they're all pretty cool if you ask me. What is your thoughts about Dreams? Have you got to play it? And if so, what are some of your favorite Dreams? What are my thoughts about it, Jason Hale?
Jason Hale.
I'm on board. This is the day one purchase for me. Seeing all like the art pieces so far in this game has me in. Seeing like there's like a Wipeout level someone has made. Outstanding. I want to explore it, and I would love to make an episode of the Trophy Room in Dreams. That's my goal.
Yes, an episode of Trophy Room and Dreams for sure. I'm also super hyped about it. Just seeing everyone else's creativity is what is making me more hype. I also, and I texted this to Joe the other day, it was a joke, but I seriously want to make a stealth game of Mr. Badbit trying to steal from Andrew House.
Yeah, man.
With different costumes. I think that would be super
We'd
fun.
have Spider Bit. We'd have
Red Dead Redemption Bit.
Red Dead Bit. We'd have Creepy Bit. All his playable characters were all trying to infiltrate Andrew House's house.
Yeah.
But only one could be the victor, because now all of a sudden it's a battle royale.
Oh, damn. Okay.
There's more than one. Son of a bitch, I really only have problems with one. Now there's several? My God. Antonio asks, Dreams should give a new wave of creators the tools to put their own spin on classic games that aren't possible due to copyrights, studios disbanding, etc. What are you hoping gets made? What is your dream game remake? P.S. Feel the burn. God damn it, Antonio. Look, he's on the Bernie Bang bus. That's awesome. Kyle, I got a question for you. No. What games do you want to see made, like remakes of previous games?
I think I touched on it last week.
Touch on it again. Just give it a little touch.
What was that?
Just give it a little touch
up?
Yeah, just give it a little touch. Just touch it.
A little touch?
Just touch it.
More old school platformers. Like Gex and,
Yeah.
and Croc and Klonoa. Like old PlayStation 1 era platformers, I think would be super cool. And I think it's like the perfect place to remake them as well.
Yeah. And they already have the tools to make them as well. I saw a Mario game on there. So sky's the limit here, folks. I really want to see how they monetize Dreams, or if they even. I want to see how that works. Because Sony says they want this game to be a 10-year long, like, similar to that of a Destiny of cycle. So I want to see what this game's going to really run in 10 years. And just to see the creativity in less than 9 months from people within the community, and thinking about what that game's going to look like a year from now is going to blow my mind. So
absolutely.
Yeah, I do think that this game's going to be a hit. I don't think it's going to be the biggest thing in the world, but I think it's something that PlayStation could go off and put this into a college hall, or put it into a school system and say, hey kids, here's a way to create games and actually fuel that creativity. I say it all the time, but I think this is more of an education based game than anything. So yeah, and that's also I saw first impressions of the game, and that's what they're really pitching this game as, is we're going to art museums and showing this game off. We're going to different places showing this game off. So to me, Dreams is unlike a game that we've seen in a while in terms of how they're going to market it, and I think that's the thing that intrigues me the most. Kyle, would you like to read the last or second to last question on the list here?
Oh, absolutely. The most famous Seamus around writes, now I thought of this special Valentine's Day question in November/December and held it for this special occasion.
Yeah.
So get ready, folks. It's story time. In a world similar to Who Framed Roger Rabbit / Wreck-It Ralph, video game characters are actually actors within the game. In celebration of Valentine's Day, Sony / PlayStation decided to have a little blind date event in New York where they sent the characters from their games with other characters. In order to help them, they hired the greatest matchmakers in Europe, Keighley, the Y is silent, and Josve. However, it just so happens that the two matchmakers look just like Kyle and Joe, who are also in New York. The intern who was supposed to pick up the matchmakers mistake you two for the matchmakers and is now panicking about losing their internship. You two decide to pretend to be the matchmakers to help the intern and also to meet your favorite PlayStation characters. So now you must come up with 1 or 2 matches and explain why you think these couples would work. They must both be PlayStation characters, or at the very least, their games must be available on PlayStation. You also can't set yourselves up with any of the characters, so no date with Chloe for you, Joe. Have fun,
Damn
Joe.
it.
I should also add that characters who are married in the games aren't married in the real world as well.
Okay, this is a great question.
This is fantastic.
This is a very, very hard question as well.
Play matchmaker, huh?
I'm playing matchmaker. And first and foremost, so the rules is it's Who Framed Roger Rabbit, right? Again, some of the characters who are married or would be married aren't. Okay, that makes sense. So we could kind of play fast and loose with this.
Sure.
Right? Who are we setting up? And I'm also thinking this as the matchmaker game. Like, the guy or girl sitting down and like, match number 1, what do you think's a nice date? And then it's like Kratos
Where's
of
the
like,
strangest spot you made, Whoopi?
yeah. I made it with 2 women on horseback after the siege of like the great Athens. And you're like, okay, cool.
So I instantly have one.
Okay, go for it.
It is Ratchet
Okay.
with Coco Bandicoot, Crash's sister.
Whoa. Do you think that's gonna cause some internal beef?
No, I don't think so. I think they're both grown
Okay.
adults at this point. And...
I think Coco Bandicoot would go good with like Jack.
Ooh, you know what?
Because they're both anthropomorphic.
Oh, look at that. That's totally like a rom-com moment there. I bring Ratchet, you bring Jack.
And then like Sly
table.
Cooper is like, she's the woman of my dreams.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's get some equality in here. Let's get Aloy with Chloe. Because they're 2 feisty females.
Sure.
They're both badasses. They're both independent. But yet at the same time, they do need other people.
Yeah.
I think they would work.
I like that one.
I think
like
that's
that
beautiful. This brings a tear to my eye. Let's see. Spider-Man... Because technically he's an IP. He is what he is.
True.
And he, in the comics, bangs literally anyone. So he's doing... Actually, you know what? Would he be with Aloy? Because he's got a thing for redheads.
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
That'd be such a unique relationship because Aloy, being from the future, speaks a little bit weirder. Like,
what if, you know what? What if she's actually Mary Jane? Because they kind of look similar between the games. So she's like playing both characters.
Yeah.
I like that.
Oh, okay. Again, going for equality here.
Yeah.
Geralt.
Of Arivia?
Yep. And Joel. 2 hardened old men who just want to get their jobs done.
Yeah.
I could just imagine them just sitting down, just drinking beer the entire matchmaking session.
I'm laughing because they're both gruff looking dudes, right?
Yeah.
Like he's just like, oh, I had a long day, and like Joel's like, I too had a long day. I was slaying monsters. I also was slaying a monster.
Oh, okay, hold on.
Okay.
Sam Porter, right?
Okay, who's he?
Sam Porter. Who can we match him up to?
He has connection issues, man. Also, single dad.
He does.
He's got that BB in a jar.
Yeah.
We're matching him with, you know what?
Go for it.
Here's the thing. They're hetero life mates. It's him and Kratos. They both got sons. Or, right, wait, is it BB? I don't even know. They both got kids.
Yeah, they both got kids, yeah.
You know, they both don't like the outside world.
Nope.
They're both recluses.
Yep.
I could see Kratos, you know, like finishing his axe and like, I don't know, Sam Porter's and knitting. And they're just having a good time, and that's enough for
Just have a
them.
good time.
Yeah. You know, they've
Yeah.
both dealt with extreme loss. I think that makes sense. I actually think out of all of them, I think that makes the most sense of what we've been saying here. Last one. This is too much
Going
fun.
back to Spider-Man.
Uh-huh.
Just do the ultimate crossover, and since he does like redheads, or it doesn't even have to be. I was gonna say Poison Ivy from Arkham.
Okay.
But just
Sure, they
do
haven't-
Spider-Man and Catwoman.
Oof.
Oof.
I'd watch it. You know what? There probably is one out there. I could after this. Who knows?
Shout out to Mark.
Shout out to Mark. He'll take away all the bad stuff. Nathan writes in with the last question of the night. I'm dying with this one. In the veins of Valentine's Day and people having some sweet, sweet, nasty love. Oh, yeah. Name the STIs of gaming with proper scientific names. Listen, everybody's on the Bernie Bang bus after, you know, the Yang Gang Bang went awry. So, what are we doing here? Listen, Kratos, I'll make this answer easy. He has them all. He's probably invented some, you know?
Mm-hmm.
He's gone through a lot of mates.
What I'm thinking Nathan is going at, though, is like gaming terms that we can turn into. So immediately I'm going into Rage Quit. What could we turn Rage Quit into, like an SEI scientific name, like?
Listen, we're getting
Ragicus Quiticus. I
there
guess.
you go. There you go. I was thinking like Nathan Drake has to have HPV. That's what I was thinking. With that, that's been our Valentine's Day episode of the Trophy Room. Everybody, before we go, Kyle, is there anything you want to pimp out, sir?
As always, I like to pimp out myself. Who Dat Ninja 73 on PSN. My show all about the best friends of the Kind of Funny community. Best Friends Talk Funny is at BFS Talk Funny on Twitter and wherever you listen to podcasts. If you're in the New York area, currently this week, February 15th, we're going to go see Sonic together, go play some PlayStation games at Sony. Don't laugh. Sony.
No, why did we think of Sonic? Because he's like, gotta go fast.
I think that's why. I think everyone's
gonna
be
make
mad at
goo.
us. Oh no goo, no goo here.
Come here, Ratchet.
Oh God, no. You can go to kindnyc.com
Look at that tight little rump.
for all future New York community meetups, as well as finding links to all our podcast stuff, like Platform Agnostic is my other gaming thing I do. Dollar Slice is our community show. So go check all that out. You are an awful person right now.
I thought of 3 other ones.
What made you think of them? Goo?
Goo. Whoa! All right. Guys, you can find the show on podcast services around the globe, whether that be iTunes, whether that be Google Play, Spotify, wherever you find an RSS feed, you can find the show there, or youtube.com/badbiggames. You find the video version of this show. It's fantastic. And again, please rate us 5 stars. I know after that whole rant, please rate us 5 stars. It definitely means the world to us. What we're going to start doing, and I'm stealing this from What's Good Games, is before we go, we're going to start reading every new review we get. So I know there's some we need to get caught up on. Mm-hmm. So we're going to get to that segment at the end of each and every show. So please start right now. Rate us a 5-star review. It only takes 5 minutes. Even if you don't have an iTunes account, it's so easy to do. So with all that said, with all that out of the way, everybody, keep hunting and keep playing PlayStation.
Unicorn Princess, here we come!
Whoa, unicorns!
You know where that horn's going.